10 psychological and mental health changes in children as a result of possible abuse, carelessness, or even oversight. Children who go through abuse possibly behave in different ways, but in this video, we're going to be highlighting 10. But before I proceed, it is important to note that the following changes are seen in so many children as a result of different kinds of stressful situations that they go through and not necessarily abuse. So when these changes begin to occur, or when these children begin to behave in certain ways, should be properly investigated. The first on my list is fearful behavior. This includes having constant nightmares, depression, and unusual fears. When a child around you is beginning to, have these changes or begins to behave constantly in these ways, then there's the possibility that that child is going through an abuse or something is wrong somewhere and should be properly investigated. Number two is unexplained abdominal pain. You see, it is not just enough that whenever a child is complaining of abdominal pains, especially when there is no any medical history that is resulting to that abdominal pain, it should be properly checked because that child could be going through an abuse, which is physical or sexual abuse. That can cause unusual or an unexplained abdominal pains in children. Number three, the child attempts to run away. Sometimes, especially for the kids who they bring for them to come and stay with people to help them, like caregivers, nannies, and all of that, most of the times when these kids try to run away from the home, it's possible that that child could be going through an abuse. So it should be properly checked because that's one of the behaviors that, manifest when a child is going through an abuse. Number four, extreme sexual behavior that seems inappropriate for the child's age. You see, children can behave in different ways. One of the ways children respond to things is by either being withdrawn or they come to talk about it, children who are bold enough to talk about it, or sometimes they begin to act what they see or what they go through. So when you see your child or any child around you, acting in a strange way or demonstrating some, extreme sexual activities that, seems inappropriate for that child's age, it should be properly checked because that child is being abused or exposed to things that are not healthy for that child. Number five, sudden change in self-confidence. This sign is one of the most obvious signs, but sometimes parents don't seem to take note. When these children go through certain things, this is one of the major ways that you could tell that your child is going through either abuse or something that is not healthy. They're usually very withdrawn. They lose their self-esteem. They become, unnecessarily shy and try to stay away from people. They lose, their self-confidence. So when you see a child behaving like that, then it should be properly checked because something somehow is wrong with that child that is messing up that child's self-esteem. It is not all the time that is as a result of growth. Sometimes something could be seriously wrong. Like number six, headaches or stomach pains with no medical cause. This is as a result of the stressful situations they go through, and it causes constant headaches for these kids. They're always having migraines, kids that you were wondering what actually is wrong that this child is always having headaches. So it's as a result of that stressful situation, that abuse possibly that child is going through. And the stomach pain could also be as a result of, not eating properly or not eating healthy and all of these things put together. So causing these kids to constantly have headaches and stomach pains. Number 7 is school failure. It is not just enough that your child is not doing well in school and all you do is scold the child, and try to, sometimes some parents even body shame their children and do all sort of things, to their kids because they're not doing well academically. Forgetting to check properly, because when a child is not doing well academically, it's not necessarily because that child is not intelligent. That child could be going through some stressful situations that is making he or she not to concentrate in school to be able to do well in his or her academics. So if your child is not doing well in school, it should be properly checked and investigated, because that child could be going through things that you don't know about that is affecting the child's mental health or making the child not to do well academically. Number 8, extremely passive or aggressive behavior. If a child is going through an abuse, it's possible that the child will be extremely passive or extremely aggressive, depending the stressful situation the child is going through and who is responsible for that situation. So it should be checked when you see your child behaving either extremely passive or aggressive. Number 9 is social isolation. Children respond to things quickly, good or bad, positive or negative. And social withdrawal is one of the ways you will know that something is wrong with your child. When you see that your child that is super active, super engaging, all of a sudden, when you take that child to even children party, the child is just withdrawn. It's not active, it's not responding, it's not, interacting. You should know that something is wrong. It is not just enough to say, oh, he or she doesn't want to play, or he or she, is feeling somehow, and maybe it's just for that day. No, something is wrong. Children are very, very active human beings. And when your child is beginning to develop this kind of behavior, it should be properly checked, because something definitely is wrong with that child. Number 10 is big appetite and stealing food. This is another way you will find out that a child is going through an abuse, because they don't feed them properly, they don't eat well or eat healthy, and stealing of food becomes an option. If you find this video interesting, please don't forget to share so that other people could learn. You could just as well save a child by sharing this video. And please don't abuse me by not sharing this video. Thank you for your usual support.